If you try to erase the past, you are condemned to relive it. I was brought up with that very notion from my first moment when I could hear, listen, understand, talk. We learn from the past. We try not to repeat the mistakes of the past. If you deny what went on, if you eliminate what went on, you are almost guaranteed to make the same mistakes, because at the end of the day, we have smartphones, we have technology. Maybe the wheel is now invented and before it wasn't. But truly, the human condition is such that we tend to go toward the mistake path. And then we adjust. And then we try to get success where failure used to live. I am not going to sit here and celebrate the fact that the Department of Defense and their press secretary, John Elliott, reversed course and tried to give us an excuse as to why any mention of Jackie Robinson had disappeared and now reappeared. But there's no way I'm not going to go through what John Elliott said and the timeline of his statement. This is someone who is the Pentagon press secretary. This is a Harvard-educated man. This is someone who has had success in the private and public sector. This is a communications officer. And at 1:24 p.m. yesterday, he released a statement that said DEI is dead at the Defense Department. And then he referred to it as discriminatory equity ideology. And he said that's a form of woke cultural Marxism that has no place in our military. And I want to stop there, Coca, take the statement off the board on Nothing Personal with David Samson YouTube channel, because I think we need to explain to people what woke cultural Marxism is. I assume there's some sort of misunderstanding, certainly by this Harvard-educated brilliante named John Elliott. So I'd like to just give you a little rundown. Marxism is a concept. It's a pretty simple concept. We have it here. We have Marxists here in the United States. Think about capitalism. Capitalism is where you and I have an opportunity to make as much money as we can, doing whatever it is we can to make that money within the four corners of laws that are meant to govern situations where two people, two groups, are trying to do the same thing at the expense of the other, and it's outside of fair competition. That's a general way to look at it. Marxism posits that society, community, is all driven by material wealth, by material conditions. And we're organized by how that wealth is distributed. Marxism will have you assume that there will be a class struggle, that there will be a conflict between the haves and the have-nots. Tell me when you hear something that rings true or familiar. Marxism is the very ideology, not that the White House is trying to avoid, it's what they're running toward. As a matter of fact, I could argue that the governmental policies right now are exactly trying to get the people with the money to have the power and then give more of the power and money to the people already in power with the money. And the thought is that capitalism exploits the have-nots. But Marxism says that when that equilibrium is too upset, there will be a class struggle, a class war, and then a reallocation, and then everyone will be on the same path. Do you think that the government believes that its actions right now by creating a bigger divide between the haves and the have-nots is not going to lead to the very thing that they are hoping to never be associated with? Do you think it's a coincidence that the statement at 1:24 p.m. yesterday said that DEI is a form of woke cultural Marxism that has no place in our military? Do you think that the Pentagon press secretary doesn't realize that our current administration wants you to believe that you can have his life when he knows very well that the actions he's doing will make it so you can never have his life? But he doesn't want you to believe that. He wants you to have the hope. And I don't mean the Andy Dufresne hope. I don't mean anything else other than the hope that springs uneternal, non-eternal, lack of eternal. The hope that has a little flashlight that shines through, that is controlled by someone on the other side who can pull the battery out at any time. But with the knowledge that the way to keep the thumb on the neck is to keep the hope that you will be what you're looking at, the life. It started a long time ago, so this is not a Donald Trump thing. Lifestyles of the rich and famous with Robin Leach, our obsession with Hollywood, our obsession with celebrity, our obsession with people who have the money. We talked about the Jerry Maguire top 5 quote. I don't know whether it was on our show or the Levitard show, about what first class is. It used to be a better seat. Now it's a better life. Let me go back to his 124 statement when the Jackie Robinson article had been scrubbed, and he tries to explain it, that the woke cultural Marxism has no place in our military. It divides the force, erodes unit cohesion, and interferes with the service's core war-fighting mission. I'm just curious what you all know about the military, but as far as I'm concerned, all you have to do is watch A Few Good Men, and you can understand the class system that exists, the necessity for the class system, and it's never based on color. It's based on rank. It's based on how you attain rank. It's based on respect, professionalism. It's based on people making decisions to follow what someone says blindly because that's their job, until such time as the equilibrium changes, until such time as someone realizes that doing a code red may not be the right thing to do to Private Santiago. The statement at 1:24 p.m. said to you that we are pleased. We. Does he mean the Pentagon press secretary? Does he mean the Department of Defense? Does he mean the defense secretary alone? Does he mean everyone who voted Republican? Can't be sure. But we are pleased by the rapid compliance across the department with the directive to remove DEI content from all platforms. I'm sorry. Is that what the plan is? Is that in some way going to make everybody feel better that our country is heading toward a better place of economic equality where the class system will cease to exist and the rich won't be as rich and the poor will be better off? Because we will not acknowledge exactly what's happened in our history and in the world's history? Do we want to pretend that Jackie Robinson and his core principles, which, by the way, if everybody lived just according to his core principles, believe me, we would be in a better place, and the debate and the rhetoric would all change. So we're going to remove history, remove DEI content. Don't give me the argument it's only the Department of Defense website. No one looks at that. Who cares? I think it's very clear that this can't be the mandate of the voters. It can't be the mandate of even MAGA. It can't be the mandate of anyone with a brain larger than a pea to understand that the best way to accomplish your financial goals, your economic goals, your purity goals, if you're a racist, the best way is to have a frame of reference, to understand 4819, to understand exactly what happened in the past that caused the present, and that will be an indicator of the future. So 60 plus 22, 82 minutes later, the same Harvard-educated press secretary, John Elliott, said, I think I'm going to release another statement. 82 minutes apart. Everyone at the Defense Department loves Jackie Robinson, as well as the Navajo Code Talkers, the Tuskegee Airmen, the Marines at Iwo Jima, and so many others. We salute them for their strong and, in many cases, heroic service to our country. Full stop. I just want to make sure that we understand that over the course of 82 minutes, President Trump and the defense secretary and the press secretary of the Pentagon was able to take a poll that would make Dan Le Batard proud, because it didn't have 1,000 respondents, 10,000 respondents. He got into the millions, all in 82 minutes. And it turns out that everybody loves Jackie Robinson. Thank God. because we thought that when you were scrubbing the Jackie Robinson article, that it was actually personal against Jackie Robinson. It turns out that the reason it was scrubbed actually has nothing to do with Jackie Robinson. It's not about loving Jackie Robinson. Don't be fooled by this 82-minute walk back that this soon-to-be fired, but of course not, Pentagon press secretary decides that now we love Jackie, and it's really the Black people and the Black history we don't love. The people you've never heard of or that Jeff Passan's never heard of. The articles that have been scrubbed using an AI construct with words. What do you think the words are that AI is using to scrub? I bet you it's something like black, brown, Negro. I can't imagine it's words like baseball, Dodgers. Oh, it could be Dodgers, actually. Although that would be weird because then you'd have to actually deal with the president. Oh, no, I digress. I doubt it's talk. Certainly could be Navajo. So why would he change course in 82 minutes when the president and all of his disciples have not cared one bit about DEI or eliminating woke culture? As a matter of fact, they stand on a pedestal hoping that it will be erased. They run on a platform where everyone wants to believe that everything that's taught in schools about our history, about racist country that we are, were, and apparently may always be, if it's not fixed properly by the right smart people, forget it, ignore it. But 82 minutes, we're going to bring Jackie back. If I'm Jackie Robinson's family or Major League Baseball, I'd like you to stand up. I'd like you to stand up and say, you know what? Have at it. You may try to erase Jackie Robinson's story, but you won't be able to, because the only people going on the Department of Defense website are people who actually, I have no care in the world whether they understand Jackie Robinson's principles. I am far more interested in the work that the Jackie Robinson Foundation does, far more interested in the work that so many millions of people do trying to teach our children the difference between right and wrong. You want to know how to cure racism? You have to start with the children. Nobody's born a racist. Nobody's born with the views that are promulgated so unbelievably and vociferously from our head of government on down. You're not born that way. You're taught it. The irony of trying to handle what is being taught to our students is that the only hope we have is that what is taught to our students can start to turn the table on what is taught to the kids by some of the parents. But the good news is, eventually, everyone in my generation, the generation above me, we're all going to croak. So the hope is that all of the younger generations will actually have an understanding of what it means to be equal, and I don't mean Marxist. Have an idea of what it means to be fair, to be equitable, to understand that, of course, there's always going to be rich and there's going to be poor in capitalism. But that doesn't actually have to be an indication for treatment or for rights or for obligations. The fact that all men are created equal, that should say everything, except what people want to believe is what it says is, yeah, look, it's all men. No, the fact of the matter is that we know that in order for our society to thrive, in order for the changes to take place that we all want, no matter what our political proclivities are, is we want everyone to have an equal opportunity, and we want to base things on merit. Of course, there's a differentiation when it comes to intelligence, ability to make money, desire to make money. That is normal in any community and in any society. Every speech I give is that 20% of the people in a company do 80% of the work. That's a fact. 80% of the people in your company aren't doing a thing. I've told you that. That's a class system in and of itself. I would just like you to take one thing from this. Not that Jackie Robinson is back on the Department of Defense website. Not that John Elliott is a total tool who changed his statement in 82 minutes. Not the fact that President Trump may do things that you love hate, are indifferent to. I would like you to take from this, if you are willing to, that erasing history is the single most dangerous thing, way worse than climate change, way worse than your view on economics, interest rates, way worse than any war anywhere in the world, way worse than having a nuclear arsenal. Mutually assured self-destruction doesn't come from war. It comes from erasing history, which means by definition, you can't learn from it. And if you can't learn from your history, we're finished.